Uh-oh. I already see myself froze a little bit there. Doggone it. Don't adjust your set. I always look this good. Now, don't act like you haven't already noticed the Sherpa. In burgundy, wine red Sherpa. Come on now. R8RBEAR! Let's go! Welcome to the best damn opening in Facebook and YouTube live history. Oh, it's true, because it came out of my face. Often imitated, never duplicated. That fool with no head, that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! You know what? You've heard me do it. Come on, that's enough of that. Alexa, stop. So what's up, fam? Welcome to the show. As usual, your boy, R8RBEAR Live. Appreciate you coming in. And if you would, consider a subscription to R8RBEAR family page. It's just $5 a month. And you can cancel at any time, but you won't want to because we do all sorts of fun stuff for our supporters around here. And more importantly, we do a lot for charities all over the world, like Punks for Autism, St. Jude's, and early onset cancer. And we worked actually with MSNBC to work with the Kind Fund, Kids in Need of Desks. And we did a lot of good for a lot of kids to go to school. And so as you can tell, I sleep really well at night. I don't have angels. I am an angel. Oh, I can say that. You know, I work for the homeless. I work for underprivileged kids, you know, and just so many things. But I could tell you, it just would blow your mind. But I'm not going to, because then it does sound like bragging. I mean, good bragging, but bragging nonetheless, you know. Usually when I start bragging, it's just for funsies. And this would be real. Finish! R8RBEAR Live! First comment, woo! MVP tonight goes to... What are you doing up here winning a gold medal? Carlos Magana Jr. What's up, Carlos? Welcome to the show. If I remember correctly, you were a junior, right? I don't know. I was kind of guessing on my memory there. Tonight's gold medalist, Carlos Magana. Second place, my silver medal goes to... the interim champion of the world, Chip Vanderlyn, who, although he was denied his gold, speaking of which, third place, my bronze medal goes to that bear emoji making son of a monkey, Mark Vargas! Mark, what's up? My middleweight champion of... This is becoming a thing. First place, gold medalist numero uno, El Jefe, YouTube, Carlos Boy Kins! Sometimes I say it like loud the whole way, and other times I get to Kins and I bring it down. You know, it's because it depends on my mood. Carlos One. From that sultry, sexy voice, son of a monkey. Everyone's son of a monkey with me. Lucky Pace! I know it's Lucky, but I wanted to say Lucky that time. Lucky Pace. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. Okay, I'll admit, I said Lucky like I used to in the past accidentally. But I fixed it pretty fast. Pace! Third! Dustin, you're going to have to do something because that interim title status is starting to stick, brother. Carlos Boykins, my heavyweight champion. He ain't playing around. He'll probably get you tomorrow night, too. I'm all talking trash for him. Dustin King! Dustin, don't worry about Carlos Boykins. He'll get bored with this eventually. No, he won't. Honorable mention to Alpha and Omega Forever and Steven Shaw, my good friend. Welcome again. And let's get to it. Oh, and you know what? Let me just show you this real quick. And Anna, I think you're probably watching Anna Diaz Rincon, my first supporter ever. I think you're probably watching. Which one of my hats your husband would like the most, and I know I want to send him one. I'm going to be sending you the one that Corinna Trujillo got for you. I have it set aside with my other mail. Your husband's hat. And you got the camo style. But either way, if he's interested, whichever one he wants, just let me know. And these are all size 8s. Anyone that's interested, all I'm charging is $25. I apologize. I know I'm freezing a little bit in and out. It's alerting me right now to that. So when I do, I will stop and wait until the freeze is gone. So just know you're not missing anything, okay? And I should be able to fix this problem tomorrow. I wasn't able to come in and work on the computer today like I wanted to, but yeah, I will do that. Lots of great looks, lots of great styles. In fact, just to make it easier, I might even go online and just do a page that just has the pictures of each hat, and you can kind of go through and pick and pay the PayPal and send me a message on the PayPal. Hey, I want this particular one, and then look, I got a Washington one snuck its way in there. It's from the World Championship though, so if you happen to be a Washington fan, they're the Nationals. I think they are the Washington Nationals. Yeah, and that's just a little bit of it. I have so many more. I'll just show you. Here's a whole nother stack. I have like three more stacks like this with just all kinds of hats. The black on black, really cool. And then they did this one for, I think it was for the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl game. They did it in this bright blue and pink. Pretty cool. All right, so let's get on to the business of the Raiders. But first, Dustin King! Appreciate you, DK. And Steven Shaw, my good friend watching it. Cool guy. You should see him and his wife. They get along like besties. And Corinna! Hello! Much everything is getting better for you. Prayers sent up. Even though we lost yesterday, I feel like a winner because of Devontae Adams' Jets debut. You are crazy. That's funny. But it's kind of true, isn't it, Jesse? I mean, what was he thinking was going to happen? Did he think he was going to show up to the Jets and everything was going to be all right? I mean, they're not any better than we are by any stretch. You know what I mean? I almost look at the Jets and see the same sort of issue. We're just having them in different ways. Jim, I get what you're saying about Tannehill, but there's a reason why Tannehill's still sitting at home, and I don't know what it is. I'm assuming that NTE and he doesn't want to do it anymore. I don't know, but just hasn't retired yet. I don't know, but I like the pick of Desmond Ritter. Now, guys, Desmond Ritter last. Let me see. I have it right here. They got him from the Atlanta Falcons, who originally picked him. Now, while he was with the Cardinals, he was in a competition to see who would win the starting job with the Cardinals, as far as not the starting job, excuse me, the backup job. So he lost the backup job to Kyler Murray. Our new guy, Desmond Ritter, were basically like neck and neck, and they just made a conscious choice and said, okay, we're going to go with Clayton Tune. You know what I mean? But they made it clear that it didn't have so much to do with him being better than Desmond Ritter, as opposed to they got a feel about him that he might be better overall than. So we picked him up. Now, what's the MO on Desmond Ritter? You're going to like it. First, when you see him, you won't believe the body. Second, has a huge arm. They said coming out of school, he had one of the best arms of. Okay, so a cannon. Now wants to add two of me. Okay, jeez. Like, what are we doing here? Sorry for the freezies. I apologize. I don't know why this is going on. The only reason I'm even back is because I just went in and I'm wrestling with my CPU, but seems to be I may have figured it out here because it was trying to add a second window for me, and so I think I may have figured it out. So I apologize. Let me get back to where we were. So, Desmond Ritter, very nice player. Raiders C-Dub, if you wear a 7 3/4, you can wear an 8. I'll just show you. I have one of the 8s here, I think. No, that's a 7.5. Well, you get the idea. The 8s, I'm wearing an 8 in my profile picture, and it fits me fine. So, you just have to kind of pull it down, and it fits real nice. That's if you're interested. Greetings, R8RBEAR. I was in D.C. today. Sorry to hear that. And guess who got stuck with a rookie analyst today? That's right, I did. And he was a smart-ass Steelers fan. Oh, boy. My guy, Winchy. What's up, Ed? Welcome to the show. Little buddy, what are we going to do about the Raiders situation? I have no answers. Okay, what we're going to do about the situation is they're going to battle their way through the rest of this season. Now, when we started the season, we all had hopes that we could have a pretty good season. I think that the moment, and AOC broke his thumb. For those of you who haven't heard, AOC's thumb is broken. He did it on a throw. He was doing the follow through, and another guy's arm was coming through, trying to block the ball, and just slammed his thumb backward into his hand, and so he has a break going right through the base bottom of his thumb. So it's partially into his palm. So squeezing and things, can't do it. So he's out for a little while. With him down and only Gardner Minshew to go to, we had to make moves. Now we have cap space, we have roster space, so we just went right out there and got Desmond Ridder. Now, everything I'm reading about Desmond Ridder, I'm kind of excited about, because if it was to start the season and you told me Desmond Ridder is going to be our franchise quarterback, I would cry. I would say, no, don't want that. But if he's a guy you're bringing in off the street because you want to try and save your season, that I like about him. He has a lot of improvisational skills. I was reading about that just before showtime. Kind of like Gardner Minshew in the sense of he will step back in his process to throw the ball, but if he feels pressure coming, he has the legs. That was what I was told, or how it was discussed. He has the legs to get himself out of trouble. Now, I kept reading, and they made a point of comparing him to Tim Tebow, basically saying that he is a pocket passer, but like Tim Tebow, he can get outside, he has enough speed to do that, and he's strong enough that if someone hits him and he just needs that extra yard and a half, he can get it. He can push a guy, make a pile move, and score. I think he kind of reminds me of, just by the description I'm getting of him, of Taysom Hill. Now, for those of you who don't remember who Taysom Hill was, he was with the Saints for a couple seasons, and he was one of those guys that could run the ball as well as he could throw the ball. Really mobile guy, very buff guy, and I'm getting the exact same sort of vibe from the descriptions I'm getting from what I'm reading about Desmond Ridder. So no, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to get you too excited about Desmond Ridder like all of a sudden our season's going to be saved. But I'm saying with this quarterback, we do have a chance at that, though. We really do. Because he does have the legs to get himself out of things, but he has a little bit more size than Gardner Minshew, to where he probably doesn't get beat up quite as much. Dustin King, could you believe that? The guy's about to score. Someone shows maximum effort for the Jets and runs this guy down from behind, and I burst out laughing. And the girls both said, what? And I said, that's our former player who's supposed to have a bad hamstring. And I mean, the ultimate test of a bad hamstring is to go out, run a pattern, you throw an interception or a fumble or whatever, and now that guy's got to go hard as fast as he can the other way and bring the guy. That is the ultimate test of a hamstring. Going through your progressions of your route, trying to slip a guy, going top speed, then hit the brakes because it's an alert, emergency, there's an interception, a turnover. Now you got to run back as hard as you can to go tackle the guy, keep him from going in the end zone. I've had so many Raider fans say to me, come on, Bear, we know sometimes they use the whole hamstring thing as a part of a trade so the other team knows you're not going to get him hurt in a game while you're negotiating with them. The Jets make the deal, and then suddenly he, turns his ankle in the fourth quarter. So I get it, but don't tell us it's a hamstring if it's not a hamstring. I just don't understand the point of that. Why do they have to lie to the fans? Why can't you just say as a precaution, because we're in talks? I mean, we all knew he was going to go. We heard him ask for the trade. You guys, the press told us, there's going to be a trade. He wants a trade. So what difference would it make if they just sat him down in the process of doing the trade? Instead, they tell us it's a hamstring thing. I just don't like when they try to treat us like we're stupid. Misery loves company, Bear. He's with his buddy, stinking it up together. You will laugh out loud, but I actually am. Nicely done, Armando Medrano. Let's see. It's not fair for Raider Nation what Mark Davis is doing to the best fans in the NFL. Well, Edward, it's only going to get harder because Mark Davis is going to sell to Tom Brady. He's going to do it. He's going to sell to Tom Brady. He's going to let Tom get enough shares and so on. And I've already had Raider fans tell me he can't because his mom owns those shares. I'm not hearing that. You know how old his mom is now? She's in a wheelchair. You think she's not going to listen to Mark? Come on. I don't mind playing musical chairs at quarterback. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something. We all know we're waiting for the draft anyway. Dustin King, again, great comment. I completely agree. Why wouldn't you? I would keep doing this. Not necessarily just keep Ritter. You know what I mean? Maybe, I look for another guy. If Ritter doesn't work out, cut him, bring in another guy. You know what I mean? I would. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't. And it's like you said, the fans know what we're doing. We need Mike Vrabel to get his over here and fire AP. Edward, I'm not ready to say I would fire AP yet, but I will say I don't see coaching adjustments from him. And so I'm starting to get a little bit alarmed because you brought in 2 veteran coaches to kind of get you up to speed. You see, so when people say, the Raiders knew all along they were going to fire AP, they only brought him in as the token black coach to be fired later. Now, I do believe that in a lot of instances, but the Raiders have always been ethnically diverse in their hiring process. So it's hard for me to just immediately go to, yep, they hired the black coach to get rid of him when the rebuild's done, and they're about to take off, and then they're going to bring in some hot coach to get him over the finish line. And usually the hot coach is white, and so then it causes tensions, But, it shouldn't. It's just football, guys, and more importantly, should there be more black coaches? Of course. You know what I mean? Should there be more black owners? Of course. You know what I mean? But, that's something that will catch up when it catches up. You know what I mean? If they want to keep it as the good old boys network, let them. It'll just die. Devontae left the Raiders to go to the Jets. Well, Mr. Devontae, the Jets got worse than the Raiders. They already were, in my opinion. They already were. Call Mama Bear. Shut up, Troy Gill. Tony Carpenter Evans on deck. Air Force. I know I'm freezing, guys. I apologize. Whenever I do, I'm trying to pause so I can actually see it when it freezes. So when it does, I stop talking and I'm waiting. And then when you come back, it should only be a few seconds. And I apologize. I'm going to work on the problem. As soon as Minshew came, I said, here come the picks, and sure enough, 2 plays later, it was over. Yeah, and I feel bad for him because he hasn't played like this. You know what I mean? He just hasn't, And so it feels bad to me as a Raider fan to know he's saying that with us. You know what I mean? Because, he was a pretty decent quarterback everywhere else he's been. He's been pretty aggressive. He's won games. Doesn't throw interceptions like this. Now all of a sudden he's a turnover machine. So it makes you feel like, could he be doing this on purpose? Did he suddenly forget that when you're scrambling to the sidelines, all you got to do is just throw the ball out of bounds, over someone's head, and instead you're throwing the ball into the field of play? So if we're tanking, to me, that would be evidence that we're tanking. That could be looked at as, hey, this quarterback is, being paid to be here. He's got a nice contract and everything, but he's being told what's up. You know what I mean? And you could do that with any roster, any team. They can just say at some point, start letting people know we're gonna, we're folding the tent. We're gonna go through these games, go through the progressions, and get the hell out of here and fix this team. Depending on where we draft, get Cam Ward or Sanders. If for some miraculous reason we're outside the top 5, we take a flyer and get Watson with the Browns, paying 60 to 70% of his remaining salary. Watson just needs to be a Raider at this point to me. Lucky, I can't disagree with that more. And don't get me wrong, you're brilliant. I love your takes, but in fact, I love the first half of your take. I completely agree with that. But as far as the Watson thing, it's one of the saddest things I've ever seen. And Lucky, you're a mature guy. I know you're going to get where I'm going with this. He is, I think down deep, Watson's a good guy. I do. I think down deep, he's a good guy. I just think that this sexual thing that he's on, where he's grabbing women and trying to convince them to give him sex, but will touch him and do it, or and so on. you don't get to live with just one part of your personality. You know what I mean? So if that's who you are behind closed doors, but out in the daylight, you're Mr. Shake everyone's hands and talk to God and kiss the babies like a politician, which I can tell you this guy probably had as clean a reputation as any football player I've ever seen. I'm serious. He went out of his way to go to church when he was in college. People would ask him to go to benefits. He would do it for free. He would stay there for hours, shake hands, hug people, take selfies. I mean, he just came off like a guy that when his NFL career was over, he was going to run for Senate. You know what I mean? Become a governor somewhere, maybe even run for president. Good-looking guy, great build. People would know his history from football, and he would actually have a pretty red carpet to the whole thing, and then all gone. Now, what I've seen, Lucky, is if you notice, since he's gone to the Browns, his play has been terrible. Not bad. Terrible. He went from a guy who was considered arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Looked like this young up-and-coming lion who was only going to get better with maturity. And instead, how the mighty fall. And so it's killing him from the inside. He is, in his mind, a good person, and he probably is. I just don't think that many people could be that wrong about the guy. I just think that his sexual habits and how he tries to meet women, he's a deviant. I don't know another way to say it. The guy's a deviant. And he's never, I don't think he's ever going to be a good NFL quarterback again. And I think part of this is in his head because he knows he's going to go to court soon. You know what I mean? His lawyer's been trying to keep it out of court as long as he can, but we're coming up on almost 2 years. And usually it's 2 years. If anyone is watching has ever had a lawyer, you know what I'm talking about. I've had a lot of lawyers. I've had a lot of legal battles in the past with other companies and companies that were trying to sue me, and other times I was suing other companies. And I always won, by the way. I've never lost in court. But my lawyer really stretched it out because she wanted to investigate the other company and why they were accusing me of things and blah, 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 blah. And then she found a bunch of dirt, and then I ended up winning. But a good lawyer can keep you out of jail for at least 2 years, easy. And he's coming up on year 2. Mr. Bear, I'll admit, I am in a sassy mood. Did you see how good Russell Wilson played for my Steelers? I like you, Val, but I don't like you, Val. I love Tommy. Tommy's my guy. That's my right-hand man, okay? But you, no. I even love Grampy. But no. Love you, Steeler Val. You stay sassy. It was poetic justice. Anna Diaz, did you see what I was saying about the military hats? I wanted you to let me know which one your husband would rather have, because I got to send you your pink hat soon, and I can't leave your husband out. So would he rather have the olive or the camo? Olive green or the camo? Let me know, and I'll send one of these to your handsome husband, and you can tell him that you pulled some strings with the bear because you got leverage around here. Yeah, Edward, yeah, we're in agreement. I feel bad for him. I don't, because obviously he can't be as good a guy as he pretends when all these women are saying the things he's doing. So, you know what I mean? But I just think that he knows that he knew how to play the game. He knew how to be the politician, make everyone think I'm a sweetheart, but behind closed doors, things that I do in the dark will stay there. Deeds done in the dark always get dragged into the light. And I'm not saying that to you because I know you know that, but that's just for whoever's never heard that one. Scotty Lutz, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. That profile picture is so cool. I mean, how many people can say they hugged a dolphin? I mean, he hugged a dolphin, people. I am pretty sure I will live and die my entire life, and I will never hug a dolphin, let alone get a selfie with one. That is dope. Okay, Raider fan here in Kansas City, Missouri, and I am going to be at this weekend's Raiders versus Chiefs game in Vegas. Right on, Scotty. Bring us some good luck. Taysom Hill is still with the Saints. He just hasn't been playing this year because he's injured. I watched the Saints game last week, and he was on the sideline. Jim Garrison, I appreciate that update. I did not know that. Obviously, I don't follow the Saints, but when I watched their last couple games to see how Derek Carr was doing, thinking, I wonder if they'll bring in Taysom Hill, I just never saw him, and so I thought maybe they moved him or maybe something was wrong. I didn't know if he was hurt or not, though. Tanuka says the press has been telling us he wanted a trade since last year. Well, he told us he doesn't want to play with a rookie. He meant that. He told us that he came here to play with Derek Carr. He meant that. And he got to do neither. I'm not going to say the Raiders flim-flammed him and brought him over here when obviously they knew that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to play with Derek. And so with us knowing that there was the clause that was going to get Derek off the roster, I don't know if we shouldn't have been a little bit more straight with DA about that. Because once he got here, then it just created a mess. For example, how many of you really feel like DA has been this great player for us? If you really look back, his entire time he's been a Raider, it's just been a couple catches here, a couple catches there. Not bad. Obviously, he's really good. The one he caught in the end zone for us last week or the week before that, beautiful. But not anything that, you couldn't get from just a normal wide receiver. So I would just rather just go after good players. On a scale of 1 to 10, Devontae Adams is a 9 flirting with a 10. I don't need that. I need 6s and 7s. 7s and 8s. You know what I mean? Jacoby Meyer to me is a 7 and 8. When he's on his best days, he's an 8. Sometimes he plays like a 7. But I don't mind that. If you get enough 7s and 8s, you're going to have responses from all of them. And then it's going to have a bad news Bears effect, where the team loves playing together because everyone's contributing at one point or another. Jacorian Bennett deserves more say about how well he's played. Jacorian Bennett has come a long way. I love how he's playing. And if he got this much better in only his second or third season, is his third season, I believe, how much better is he going to be next year? I mean, Jacorian Bennett is nice. I'm really impressed with how he's played. Bear, if he's a pocket quarterback, have you heard anything on his accuracy? Tanya Carpenter-Evans, yes, great question. Now, I have heard about that, and to be quite honest with you, that's the only area that Desmond Ridder actually struggles. They said some of the coaching and scouts that have seen him, they just feel like if you ask him to throw 4 balls, okay, 2 of them are going to be accurate, and the other 2 are going to be either behind, in front of, or high, or low, but he's going to be around the receiver. That was the only thing I got that I felt like the scout said that kind of saved it. Because when you say someone's not accurate at quarterback, there's no point in bringing them in. If they're not accurate, they're just going to frustrate you. Whereas accurate as far as they may have to reach back, they may have to reach low, that kind of thing. But with the tear that Brock Bowers is on, Brock Bowers is going to catch anything you put in his vicinity. And so I'm kind of excited. I think he could be good for us. Mr. Raider Bear, Grampy is eating, but he just said you should put big butts in Devontae Adams. All the way from the land and whiskey and crumpets. Sending stars for an ocean away. Henny Blair! Appreciate you, brother. Much love. Always there for Raider Bear, and I mean that. Yeah, but they wouldn't look good in Getsy's system, so we wouldn't know if the quarterback's good. Antonio Magdaleno, I like that. Magdaleno, Antonio, I got to kind of agree with you, because everything we're doing is Band-Aid patches, and you can't put Band-Aids on surgery. And that's the problem. Now, the thing is, though, when I say that to Raider fans, they get depressed or they get kind of down and think, well, wait a minute, why are we still, flawed in some of these other areas? Because you don't have the money and the cap space and sometimes the personnel available or coaching staff available that you may need to fill these problems. As far as Luke Getsy, I'm not in disagreement with Raider Nation wanting him gone. I get it. Okay, and to me, as far as I'm concerned, we saw what he did with the Chicago Bears. 3.5, 4 years of nothing with a competent quarterback in Justin Fields, who the motor. So I don't know. I feel like Luke Getsy's got to go. But if you do that, you take the Raiders potentially another step backward. You know what I mean? We did that last season when we had the rookie play caller in there, and it wasn't anything against him. He actually did call some good plays, but he also had a game where we scored 0 points, and he just couldn't move the ball. So it's a real guessing game at this point, what's going to work and what won't. Let's say, Mr. Raider Bear, you just made Grampy choke on his beer when you said that Tom Brady would end up owning the Raiders. I'm sorry, man. I am. I'm sorry. I am. And I know I've got a lot of other Raider fans that heard what I said, and they probably don't like it and want me to elaborate, and I don't want to. Every once in a while, I get Raider fans on here who say that there's something that could happen to the roster that they draw the line on. And if it goes over that, like, for example, moving to Vegas, they just were like, look, it's got to stay in Oakland. We already lost him to Los Angeles once. We get him back, and now you're going to take him again? If they do that, I'm not a Raider fan anymore. I've seen people do that. I've seen people say that a lot. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But if Tom Brady bought out Mark Davis and was our primary owner, I don't know. That's hard, man. That's hard to me. I mean, like, for example, an NFL franchise is basically a rich person's ATM machine when you own one, okay? So there's going to be a lot of billionaires out there who are going to want to buy the Raiders, one of the most historic teams with the greatest logo, with the best colors, with the greatest uniform combinations in the entirety of the league. Some of the greatest history in the NFL that ever was. And so when you say for sale, the bill that you need to sell to Tom, I've told Raider Nation in the past that Mark Davis doesn't like us. Mark Davis does not like Raider Nation. And I've met Raider fans who've met Mark Davis, hugged him. I know a couple of different Raider fans that have eaten lunch with him. And he talks to them about what they're going to do with the roster and blah, blah, blah. And he talks about how he's having his struggles, as an owner, and then would pay the bill and leave. And then I would talk to that person. They would tell me, oh, he's so nice, and he offered me lunch and bought my lunch and blah, 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 and just really let me almost interview him like a reporter. So what? So what? Every person that knows Tom Brady is hinting to the fact that he wants to own the Raiders. That he doesn't go into projects like this unless he feels like he can own the roster, own the team. Now, having said that, why doesn't Tom buy the Titans then, right? Or the Bengals or something like that? They're not for sale. Not even close. Some of those franchises, their owner's like 88 years old and, they want to sell. Or, for example, the Panthers are the other team that's kind of exposed right now. The Panthers can be bought, but he doesn't want the Panthers. He wants the Raiders. And obviously, if you compare the two, how it's going to grow, the Panthers aren't even in our ballpark as far as name recognition, fame, Super Bowls, playoff appearances, yada, yada, yada. Great players that have come from the roster and are in the Hall of Fame. Panthers can't touch us. So it only makes sense. You wouldn't buy the Panthers if you could buy the Raiders, especially with them now being in Las Vegas. Sin City, as they like to call it. But I just call it Vegas. I love Vegas. So, Bear, Bob Standard sent me this link of a video of you getting into a fight with a pickle about 6 years ago. Travis, I'm going to let you have that one. I'm just going to let you have that one. Sean Scott, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Nice profile picture. She's lovely. Only thing I blame AP for is to continue to have Getsy call plays. Sean, I can't argue with that. A lot of Raider Nation just wants him to outright fire him. But I agree. I would keep him on for now, but I would go into the war room with Luke Getsy in between the week to stress to the offensive line, the running backs, and so on, what it is you have to be doing for Luke Getsy if you want to keep your job. Because this roster, everyone is a player we can do without, except for Max Crosby, Trayvon Merrick, who, by the way, who had a better day than Trayvon Merrick, man? I mean, he was coming up, getting sacks, blasting running backs, knocking down balls. Trayvon Merrick has slowly, quietly become a Pro Bowler right before our eyes. And I hope we don't do him like we did Josh Jacobs and not want to pay him, you know what I mean? Because he is becoming a legit safety. Kim Lassetti said, I agree, so whenever anyone says that, I post it. Not time for AB to be fired, but Getsy needs to beat it. Devon Johnson, welcome to the show. I don't disagree. I'll say what I was saying to my other viewer, but at the same time, I don't like the idea of making moves like that mid-year. If you do it, you're firing off a flare to your fans that says, we're not any good. You know, we've packed up the tent. We're probably not even going to make the playoffs. We're just going to finish, these last few games and then get Getsy out of here. But until then, we got to evaluate what he is. And, to say what Getsy is after 6 games, 7 games, is... And don't get me wrong, I get it. I feel you. I am in agreement with Raider Nation. But by NFL standards, by the rules of the NFL, by what are considered common sense of the NFL, if you hire someone, you have to give them at least a certain amount of time before you can really put your foot on and say, yeah, that guy needs to go. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that's what the NFL does. What about giving Carter Bradley a chance? Tom Shepard, welcome to the show. Great profile pic. I would say this to you. If they were going to give Carter Bradley a shot, it would be now. So they're not going to give him a shot. It would be now. If they wouldn't reach out to Desmond Ridder, you know what I mean? Even if they bring in Desmond Ridder, which is a precaution because one of your quarterbacks isn't just off the starting lineup. He's off the roster technically because he's on IR because he has a broken thumb. And so with that being said, now we can't bring him in as an emergency. We can't have him switch out with Gardner Minshew. So you had to bring in a new body, whether you had Carter Bradley or not. Having said that, Carter Bradley's not going to get a shot unless this Desmond Ridder guy is just holy garbage and throws 2 interceptions and fumbles 2 balls. If he does that, then they might look at Carter Bradley. And it's nothing against Carter Bradley. It's just the contracts and things like that. Tanamoku, you might be right in your statement. Let me read that out loud. I don't think Getsy knows how to use Minshew to his strengths. Tana, if you remember correctly, it was right at the end of the. If you don't remember this, I'll tell you. You're investigator bear. It was the preseason, and there were a couple of plays where Gardner Minshew had the ball, and then he rolled right, and he threw a ball, and he hit a guy right in the hands. Rolled left, stopped, hit a guy right in his hands. Then, sorry I keep freezing. Then, after that game, the coach, AP, and Getsy went to in the pocket and deliver the ball. Go through your progressions and deliver the ball. He's not as good at that. He's better at going through his progression 1, progression 2, and then he books. Whereas AOC can go progression 1, 2, 3, 4, safety valve of the running back on a screenplay, make a decision, throw the ball. Gardner doesn't process as fast. He learns the playing fast. AOC was calm. calling out the protections and working out what defenses were doing better than Gardner Minshew, the 6-year veteran, who basically has been living by the seat of his pants. If you've ever seen a Gardner Minshew game that he's won, it's with him rolling and rolling over and over again and, doing a fake little pitch and stuff like that. He needs that action. If you try to make Gardner fit into just structure, he struggles. He struggles. He's not tall enough, so it's hard for him to see over the linemen when they start their scrub. So if he doesn't get a window when they gap, he has to run out because he can't see the receivers. See, they're not going to tell you that, but that's what it is. This is 30-plus years of experience, I'm telling you, with this kind of thing. I've seen this sort of thing happen with backups for decades now. It's always the same reasons. You wanted clear sight lines to your wide receivers, whereas a taller quarterback doesn't have those issues usually. Mauricio Cortez said, Adams went from a West Coast Raider to an East Coast Raider. Mauricio. Oh, that was good. AKA Jets. What a fool. Also, Minshew never was good. Come on, man. He was good for the Colts last year. You consider he won 5 or 6 games on a Colts team. Look at him now. You know what I mean? When he had them, they were winning some games, and they were a little bit exciting. They were a team that scared you a little bit when you were the team coming in from out of town to play them in their house. Now, you still could beat them because the Colts weren't very good. But Gardner kept them in games and won a couple of games from behind. So, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong. You're not wrong, because he's never going to be a starter. He's never going to be a starter. He's always going to be a backup. But if you... Pretty impressive. You know what I mean? He won some games as a backup. That's unheard of. Usually your backup just, tends to the offense. Hopefully the running backs, are playing well and you run a few into the end zone. Or you just get on the other team's side of the field to kick a few 48-yard, 52-yarders and hopefully win the game that way. But instead he was pretty dominating. Well said, Corinna. Let's see. Vernon Moshman, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Do you ever see Mark hiring an experienced coach? Look at our history of coaching hires. Vernon, I would... Oh, the last day in Oakland Coliseum for the A's. You guys look great. I mean, he did hire an experienced coach when he went with Gruden. When he hired Jack Del Rio before Gruden, those were guys that were experienced head coaches, so he can do it, but I don't trust him to do it because he picked Jack Del Rio, who in my opinion was just a defensive coordinator being given a shot to be a coach, and he was terrible at it. And then John Gruden is more of an offensive coordinator, in my opinion, than a head coach. Now, is he a head coach? Yes. I'm not saying he's not a head coach. I'm just saying that Gruden is a head coach, but about the offense. In other words, he doesn't really divest too much into the defense. He lets his GM, and the coaching staff pick defensive players. If we have a defensive player trade, okay, we'll do that, whatever the case may be. But he doesn't run the defense. He doesn't work with their scheme. He doesn't go to the defensive coordinator and say, hey, I want a 4-3, not a 3-4. Play the 4-3 and flex into passing protections from a base 4-3. And so, no, he doesn't do that. So you see what I'm saying? You can have even a veteran coach in, but if the veteran coach is only balanced toward one side or the other, it can be bad. Freddie B will be pissed off if we grab Watson. Watson is a ditty. Devon Johnson, I'm going to do this for Devon Johnson. Devon Johnson is saying, allegedly, he's a ditty. I want my friend Devon Johnson in court. Allegedly, S.A.'d. No. Excuse me. But, honestly, yeah, he is. And I just don't want that kind of character on our roster. Devon Johnson's got me cracking up. Gabriel from Oregon is our future quarterback with the right OC. What do you think, Bear? Obviously, the tools are there. The kid from Oregon is quick. He processes, and so if he can stay healthy in the NFL, he's going to be a good pick, I think. Cleveland is where football careers go to die. That was funny. I don't know. I like Quinn Evers of Texas. I've kind of went out on a limb and said the Raiders may go with Quinn Evers. I really think that that's a possibility of Texas. How come we don't trade for Justin Fields? I don't think that Pittsburgh is really shopping him right now. They don't know if they can go through the whole season with him because they have Russell Wilson, but those are both volatile quarterbacks. Volatile in the sense of with Justin Fields, he could just break down mentally and start fumbling and throwing interceptions, and you need to set him down. And then if you go to Russell Wilson and he gets hurt or isn't playing well, then what do? You got nothing left. Whereas right now, they feel like they've got something that's working because both quarterbacks have played really well. AP still won't take any ownership of the team's failures as head coach. He keeps saying we aren't a good team right now. Well, some coaches will do that because they're simply saying, I need a better roster. I need a better roster. And do any of us really think that this is the roster that's going to go to the Super Bowl? Even though this roster looks like it should have made potentially a playoff run, I don't know if it's a Super Bowl team. And so if it's not a Super Bowl team, if you can look right at it and say that's not a Super Bowl team, well then what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we going through the paces? Why aren't we making more moves? We have cap space. We have money. Now, you see, we've made a couple of moves, but that was like a move we had to make. We also brought in a defensive tackle. Let's see, what's that? Zach Carter. We released Nesta Jade Silvera to bring in Zach Carter. Nesta Jade Silvera had been with us the last couple of years, but I honestly agree. The last couple times I watched Nesta Jade Silvera playing, it looked like he was stealing money. He never gets pressures, just sort of gets held to a stalemate far too often. So, you're too good to me, man. Steven Shaw! Appreciate the love on the stars. Shane Street, I don't know why they're not bringing in Ryan Tannehill, but I would say this. If you bring in Ryan Tannehill, it's probably in part because you got to pay the man. He's not just some guy. If you bring in just some guy, you can pay him whatever, but you bring that guy in, he's an accomplished starter. George Prieto, he is a partial owner with the Aces with Mark Davis. He actually also owns a European soccer team. And so he's got money. But he's also now, because of those things, his money's spread out. His wife is suing him in a divorce, no telling how long that could take or how much it'll cost him. And so the NFL has been going into the water with its tippy toes as far as getting Tom involved in broadcasting and whatever else. Because whatever Tom tries to do, he wants to be the best at it. And his own teammates are saying that. They're smiling and saying, you guys don't get it. He wants to be the best. So what does that mean when they say that? They're giving us the warning that he's never going to stop. He's always going to want to be number one. And until he is, he won't stop. And so if he's going to be a partial owner of the Raiders, he's going to want to see the kind of success that the Aces have seen. Alexa, resume! Ooh, Steven got me again. Steven Shaw! And I would ask any one of you, if you will, contribute stars. We really appreciate it when you enjoy the show. Please like and consider a subscription either on YouTube or on Facebook. I really, really appreciate it, guys, so much. I have to pick up my daughter tonight, so I'm cutting it just a couple of minutes early so I can get out there and get on the road. Much love to you. Shout out to our armed forces, Army. You do, the energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice. Active and veteran, much love. that's my show. I gotta go. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Raider Bear family page.